that get everyone's attention? All right, we're going to make some noise. We're going to get excited here today, everybody. Okay, we got top volume here, everybody. My name is Kathleen Russell. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Judicial Excellence. I want to welcome everybody here today. As many of you know, this is the kickoff of our 2015 year of action that is to follow. We are going to stop toward crime in California in 2015.
Steve, you're right in my shot.
Johnny Valentine with the California Protected Parents Association. Longtime ally of CJE. And I also want to, I think it's very important and powerful that you all be recognized for coming from all corners of California today. I've gone through the crowd, and for those in the judiciary who say that this is just an isolated problem in the court system, let me read off the list of counties in California that are represented here today. We have people here, and feel free to cheer as I read off your county. Santa Clara County, Sacramento County, Monterey County, Shasta County, Alameda County, Marin County, Sonoma County, Los Angeles County, San Francisco County, San Joaquin County, Contra Costa County, Santa Barbara County, San Diego County, and Butte County. We have 14 of California's 58 counties represented here today. I would say we've got a system, a broken system. Did I miss one?
Yes. Napa.
Napa County, that makes 15. Yeah. Oh, okay, Siskiyou County. We have 16 counties. Siskiyou and Napa did not make the initial list.
Kathleen, we don't know whether we should be clapping or booing.
I know. This is not exact. I think we should be clapping, even though the reason that everybody is here today is that your lives have been traumatized. And some of you, like myself, have never been a litigant, have never been in the court system, but you are sick and tired of the horror stories of how people in this great state are being treated when they go into court to do the most basic of things, whether it's a traffic ticket, a divorce, a juvenile case proceeding, you name it, the system is completely broken. And so we are here to say that we are here. We are not going away until we get meaningful reform of the California judiciary. And we have a couple of attorneys here with us today who are going to speak. I also know that many of you came to share your own stories at the open mic, which will be from 2 to 3. And we're also going to do a direct action today. And we'll be explaining that after the rally here for those who would like to participate. And then we're also going to be marching around the building. So this is the first of many actions that we'll be doing in the coming year, and we encourage you all to share all the amazing photographs and videos that we have of today through your social networks to the people that we know are with us here in spirit, but weren't able to be here today. And Mira Fox, I want to thank her for filming what's happening today, and Alan Phillips is here filming and taking photographs from Shasta County and Alameda County, and we've got lots of video and other documentation of what's going on here today happening. So I hope that you all can stick around. And there are also clipboards going around for the next Judicial Council meeting, which is a public meeting that takes place in this building on October 27th and 28th. And we are going to show up at that meeting in our red t-shirts. And we are going to be a silent presence in that meeting. And we are also going to speak during the open time so that the judicial branch of California can no longer ignore the cry for change and for accountability, which is sorely lacking, as all of you know all too well. So we have our wall of shame over here on the right, and that wall of shame is a place for all of you to share your stories, because we know, and many of you know from firsthand experience, that the Commission on Judicial Performance is not handling the corruption in the judicial branch. And the other oversight agencies that are supposed to be doing their job and policing the corruption in California are simply not doing it. The Board of Behavioral Sciences, the Board of Psychology, all of the oversight entities are simply broken. And so it's time for the people to demand accountability, and that's what the Wall of Shame is about. And we're hopeful that we'll be able to take the Wall of Shame on the road this year and go to various county courthouses and collect more stories and raise awareness about the need for accountability in the judicial branch. So I want to turn things over now to my partner in crime fighting, Barbara Kaufman, who is a fabulous attorney, longtime fighter for justice in Marin County, and now she's up in Shasta County, but she has a lot to say. Hello, I am Barbara Kaufman. Is this loud enough? I brought a cheat sheet because I'm going to talk about bad judicial behavior that I've seen, and it spans 2 pages. You got to go right up. Right up like here. This?
Yeah. 2 pages?
I brought a cheat sheet because I'm going to talk about bad judicial behavior that I have personally seen, and it spans at least 2 pages.
Closer.
And I started documenting court corruption in 1999 when I started practicing in Marin County. 1999, and I was told by a well-respected lawyer there that the bench and the bar take good care of each other. And I found out what that meant was the presiding judge would give wild drinking parties at his sheep ranch for his favored lawyers. They would party together over the weekend, and then he would decide their cases the next Monday. Furthermore, his wife worked under her maiden name for these favored lawyers. Oh yeah, so many, you can't even think about it. And we were told, you don't even need to show up in court if you're going to go against one of these lawyers. So I started documenting court corruption back then, and since then, I've seen in counties throughout the state. Let me preface this by saying there are good lawyers, good judges too. But this is about court crimes and bad judges commit crimes. Bad judges are the ones who knowingly and intentionally violate the laws, the rules of court, and the code of judicial ethics. Those are bad judges, and they are committing court crimes. Court crimes are happening in their courtrooms. The perps are wearing black robes. And so, okay, what I've seen, judges lying under oath. Judges appointing free counsel for multimillionaires, free lawyers for multimillionaires. Judges hearing cases. Judges hearing cases involving their top campaign donors. This one we'll all relate to. experts, court-appointed experts, who admit under oath they don't know the law, they don't follow the law, and they don't follow the rules of their own profession. But the courts rubber stamp these expert, quote, expert reports. Judges holding secret hearings for favored litigants. I just wrote a letter to the Chief Justice, the Governor, and the Attorney General about that. Secret hearings, really? In this day and age, due process, notice and opportunity to be heard? It doesn't matter for some judges. They just have secret hearings. They issue secret orders certain litigants the other side can't get. You have to go beg the court for the secret orders that are issued. We've got judges arguing a case for litigants who don't even, favored litigants, who don't have to show up in court or prepare proper pleadings. We've got judges entertaining ex parte proceedings to determine vacation issues for favored litigants. Ex parte proceedings by law are only supposed to be undertaken when there is danger to the child, imminent danger to the child, or that child is in danger of being removed from the state. That is the only time in family court there is supposed to be an ex parte proceeding. Favored litigants can run in and get an extra vacation weekend from their judges on an ex parte basis. Judges are holding court files. Holding court files in their chambers. So we can't get, lawyers can't even see what happened. We can't see orders that are issued secretly. The press, the public cannot get in and see what these judges are doing. They can hold them for 2 or 3 months on end. We see judges, this one will all relate to as well. Judges engaging in retaliation and character assassination of anyone who calls out their judicial misconduct, their court crimes. You complain, you become a target, and they will, if they can and will hurt you. They'll write orders that accuse you of conspiracy theories. You want due process? You must be paranoid, because how can you complain? How can you complain? We're not doing anything wrong. Okay. Now what makes, the latest thing, we've got judges and court administrators who backdate orders. They mess with your register of actions. You know what that means? That means you don't have a legitimate order, a correct order, or a register of actions to take up to the Court of Appeal. If, by the way, you can get to the Court of Appeal, because you're not going to get fees in order to go to the Court of Appeal, but you're also not going to get a correct order that correctly reflects what happened. Judges are eliminating court reporters. The Commission on Judicial Performance, who oversees judges, wrote a letter and said, we need court reporters. We rely on those to prove what a judge has done. We rely on those to prove that a judge is innocent. We need court reporters. Does the Judicial Council care? No. Court reporters, they've all been cut. We can't get court reporters. One appellate justice said, if it isn't reported, it didn't happen. We can't prove what happened. And here's the worst thing. I've been reporting to the Judicial Council. I've been reporting to the Governor. I've been reporting to elected officials for 15 years. I recently reported the backdating orders, the tampering with the Register of Actions, the secret proceedings, and what was special about that was it was all procedural misconduct, well documented. Not he said, she said, not mom is great, dad's bad, and vice versa. It was procedural misconduct. The Attorney General and the Governor said go to the Judicial Council, so did County Council in Marin. Everybody responded to my letter except the Chief Justice, Chair of the Judicial Council. I did follow-up calls to the Judicial Council saying, what are you going to do about this? We've been sent to you. Dead silence. Furthermore, the
Judicial Council actually promotes court administrators and judges who shred documents, who cover up, who waste money, who toe the party line, who cover up. Those are the people that are going to have appointed to the Judicial Council. But we haven't heard anything back from the Judicial Council. We haven't heard back from the Judicial Council. So we're here today to go up there and ask for a response and a meeting and a public hearing. Because we're going to say, and I want you to join me in this, you didn't respond, you didn't write back, you didn't return my calls, but can you hear me now? Join me in saying, can you hear us now? 1, 2, 3. Can you hear us now? So we're going to go up there very nicely, very, very nicely, like churchgoers, and we're going to ask for a response.
Louder, louder.
Introductory meeting, and we're going to ask for a public hearing so people across the state can come and testify before the Judicial Council, to whom we've been referred by the governor and the attorney general. Take your problems there. We're here. We're going to be back, and we want a public hearing so you can hear all about what we have to say.
That's right.
I'm going to pass this off now.
Thank you, Barbara. Next up, we have a very long-time fighter for justice from Santa Clara County, family law and appellate specialist Robin Yeamans, who's going to share her experience. You hear me? Okay. I became an attorney back in 19...
Put it right in your mouth.
I became an attorney back in 1970.
Louder.
Okay.
Closer,
I became
closer.
an attorney back in 1970 when 4% of the attorneys were female. And I would go, the judges didn't even have a concept that there could be a woman attorney. I would go to court and say, Robin Yeamans appearing with the defendant. And the judge would say, yeah, but where's his attorney? They didn't have a slot in the brain for the concept. Yeah, well, for decades, things seemed to get better. Things were improving, but as we moved into a position where the U.S. is in permanent war, and we seem to be moving in an extremely unfavorable political direction. Coming up with a level of attack I have never seen in 44 years. And I know what we suffer is nothing compared to what the children suffer. And I'm going to tell you what I went through recently. In 2012, I represented a mom who committed the crime of, against the court order, taking the kids and going to Hawaii, where she was arrested. And later on, she appears in court in jail orange and chains, and I was there with her. And I wanted to challenge this judge who had treated her so unfairly. And I had a challenge for cause to give to the judge. And so I had the challenge delivered to the courtroom. I had it put in the file, and the judge was acting like, challenge? What challenge? I said, well, I have it right here. I will give it to you. She says, give it to okay, you can give it to my clerk. I take a step toward the clerk. Bam, the bailiff's got me. I have never had a bailiff lay their hand on me. In 44 years of practicing law, I never thought that would happen. And they brought in extra bailiffs to watch me. The judge says, you can give it to the clerk at the end of the hearing. We all know that's completely against the law. A challenge has to be heard first. That didn't matter at all. Eventually, I know this will be a big surprise to you. The challenge was denied. Anyone here ever had a denied challenge for cause?
All of us.
Well,
about me, but I had made a challenge without legal or factual basis. I'm sure, now we know how to cheat. How do you think he got to be head court clerk? Computerizing the court? No, I think it sort of was more like putting forward individual judges' little petty prejudices. So there I am. Now, I know none of you have ever seen, say, an unethical attorney talk with them. No. And have any of you ever seen the State Bar investigate them? No. So I'm so enraged that they're investigating me. So I went through the whole thing, and eventually it never even got past the investigation stage. But what does it do to you when you know as an attorney, if you file something that some judge declares to have no factual or legal basis, it makes you, like every time you file something, it's like, what if this gets denied? Am I going to be back in front of the state bar again? It is incredibly chilling. The words chilling effect take on a whole new meaning. So here's what I think about. What would I do if I were creating a fair system for court? Let's see. Would you have the same people deciding custody cases that decide now? No! Would you have the same laws? Would you have the same laws and rules? No. Would you have the case decided by some person sitting in a room who doesn't go to the school, go to the house, go to the community? No! You wouldn't want the people, the rules, the building. As far as I can see, there is nothing to save about this. We got a lot of work to do.
Robin Davis, thank you. Next up, we have an attorney who's come a long way from Los Angeles County to share her incredible work on behalf of the people, Patricia Berry. What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Justice! We want equal justice for mothers and children, and we're not getting it. We're not getting it in the bar. We're not getting it in the judicial council. We're not getting it from the courts. We're not getting it from the police department. That segues into what I want to talk about. Michelle Fontinos.
Closer.
Michelle Fontinos and I.
No, it's not on.
Michelle Fontinos, my client over in San Mateo, Manor, passed out a few flyers. Got John Fontinos arrested. He was picked up with 14 guns, 2 assault rifles, 10,000 rounds of ammo, 20 high-capacity magazines. Judge Foyles, Sheriff Monk, DA Wagstaff threw the case. The man now walks free. He admits he's had 10 concussions. He beat up his children severely. He has 3 felonies. He walks free. I would like you to do the following, okay? Please call Emmanuel. Please call in. I can give you my email if he has nothing to write with. His name is Emmanuel Pasqua, Pascua. He's the FBI agent who busted Leland Yee for being a gun runner, selling illegal arms. I'm not sure if Fontinos is a convicted felon was buying the guns from Yee. I have no idea. But the bottom line is, Pasqua had the nerve and the guts to do the right thing and bust this corrupt senator for his gun running. Only you, the people who live in the Bay Area who have a lot to lose, because if Fontinos loses it, he's brain damaged, he's 50, he's got a hair trigger temper, he walks a straight free, and the DA said they never recovered 3 guns. He could lose it, and I guarantee you it will be a gun massacre because the man has no control. He's been violent, and the legal system has told him he commits crime after crime.
Judge Foyles lets him do what he wants to do. Please call the FBI. Inundate FBI. The office is 415-553-7400. If you need that information, please. It's only going to be what Michelle and I accomplished to get him arrested in the first place. And that was phone calls to the judges and to Monk in order to get his arrest. Please try the FBI office. The second thing I want to talk about, and it's in keeping, I think, with what Robin and Barbara are talking about, is we need broad injunctive relief. And I have just talked to a few moms asking them if they have filed bar complaints against their own attorney, father's attorney, or minor's counsel. How many have done that?
Yeah, we have.
All right, now, I have filed the bar action on behalf of myself, and I'm saying that I and my clients, the class of protected mothers who are often domestic violence victims and their abused children, are denied equal bar services. Yes. They support violent men, yes, and unethical attorneys and judges who support the violent men, the sex-abusing men. For example, Judge Kamansky was sued and paid $300,000 to a young man, Jason Bumpus, who said he raped and sodomized him. He now teaches state bar and CLE ethics. That's the kind of man that the California Supreme Court supports.
Yes. Organized criminal.
That's right. So what we have to do, so what I'm asking, if anybody would like to join my class, I want to bring a class action in connection with my threat to discipline, because I said I'm being treated the same way as the mothers because I'm the advocate for the mothers. God forbid I never lost or had my child ever challenged or whatever. Okay, so I don't suffer the same tragedy. But like Robin says, when the bar comes knocking, these individuals who run the bar, it's a frightening experience, and it absolutely terrorized Michelle and Rachel because I was the only lawyer trying to protect them from the violence of John Coutinho's. So the bar, if anybody wants to join my class action, I need to know within the next few days. What I need is, excuse me, a description of who you filed the complaint against, or that you would like to file a complaint but know it's useless. It can be your own attorney, father's attorney, or minor's counsel. And those who want to join the class action, I want to amend by the end of next week. Please let me know. I would like to have like 10 representatives, and I'd like to have them from different counties and to represent the entire state. Because the theory, there's a long, everybody should know this, and I know the lawyers here, there is a law, a very rich body of law going back to 1888. You can do what you want to do, folks. You can't discriminate in terms of providing public services. You have to provide equal services to mothers and children in the way that you do to these batterers and sex molesters and so on. So those are my two things. Finally, I'd like to share with you a victory that my client, who actually is an Arab, and I'm representing him on racism, but we ended up spearheading. I want to show you what solidarity can do. You've got to stay united.
Yes.
I stayed up all night. I'd get up at 2 a.m. and I did an 82-page complaint against the usual corrupt, evil, mentally ill, obnoxious, self-enriching custody evaluator, the evil custody named Bruce Harshman.
The beast.
It was an 82-page complaint that I filed. Now listen up. We spearheaded, between Ivan, my client, and I, a parents' movement. I knew a lot of victims of Harshman. We began to get more victims. Listen to this. I don't know why. Superior Court removed him from the approved provider list.
Kincaid! Get rid of John Kincaid!
Yeah, you got to do it, okay? You got to get these monsters off the approved list. We hope he's toast. Now, BBS, my client Ivan had a lot to do. BBS, the Board of Behavioral Sciences has just changed the law. Listen up. They now can get the custody evaluation when you allege that the evil custody evaluator behaved improperly and so on
Closer.
and so forth.
Connie,
So now
closer.
we're lining up to get Hartman's license. That is united action for broad injunctive relief. We've got to do it across the board. Now, just remember what Martin Luther King said.
We can't hear you. Talk closer. Closer to the mic.
Martin Luther King said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends to justice.
Yes.
And Hampton, one of the founders of the Panthers, said, you know, they always tell me to fight racism with fire. Fight fire with fire. He said, no, I'd rather do it with water. Best of all, we will fight this misogyny and hatred of children in the courts in solidarity. Power to mothers and children and fathers. Don't forget those wonderful things.
All right, thank you, Patricia Berry from Los Angeles. Next up, we're doing well on time here. Next up, we have another credible street fighting attorney for justice who has worked all over the Bay Area and I think even beyond down in San Diego most recently. We've got attorney Kim Robinson who knows a thing or two about retaliation. Can everybody hear me? Oh yeah, because I can hear myself. Okay. I'm going to be brief. And take the buses that are going by me. Okay, as to what Barbara and Robin and Pat said, I have only one thing to add to that, which is ditto. Been there. Know about retaliation. Know what's going on in the family courts, and I can't believe that people in this building behind you don't know either. Now, I'm going to also try to be a quick solutions person here and offer a couple of suggestions. Number one, I want you and all of your friends to be showing up here on October 27th and October 28th wearing your red shirts because they look fabulous. Fabulous. And everybody looks good in red with white letters on the front.
Nice choice of color.
Very great choice of color. So, number two. It's going to be really important that you look for a couple pieces of legislation coming your way that you have to get behind. One of those pieces of legislation is going to be an amendment to Code of Civil Procedure, Section 170.1. That is the for-cause challenge of judges for bias. We're not asking for a lot. You know what we're asking them to do? We want the statute amended so that the judge who's being challenged absolutely no way can rule on his or her own motion. Can you imagine going into a criminal court and telling the criminal, you get to decide your own guilt or innocence? What are you going to decide? How many of those criminals do you think are going to say, I'm innocent? Okay? So, no judges get to decide their own for-cause challenge. They don't even get to decide whether it's timely or whether there's a sufficient legal or factual basis. Number two, anything that comes across your Facebook or email or IMing, however you communicate that deals with court reporters, you need to sign on. We've got to get our court reporters back in the family court. One of the worst things that's happening right now is we have
victims of domestic violence going in to put on a hearing, and they show up and they don't have a lawyer because they can't afford one, and they don't even know that they are supposed to have arranged for a court reporter in advance. And as one of my colleagues said earlier, if it's not on the record, then it never happened. And we are turning away a lot of what would otherwise be great issues for the courts of appeal if and only if we had a record. So, those are the three things I want you to look for. Show up here October 27th, 28th wearing red. There's going to be a lot of us. It's going to be good. Number two, be looking for that 170.1 amendment and get to Sacramento to help us with that. And number three, get behind the demand that court reporters be put back in our family courts at no cost to the litigants. The state's got the money. They got money for all kinds of stuff. They need to get it for our court reporters. This is a substantive and procedural, fundamental due process right. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Kim Robinson from Oakland, California. So we're just getting underway here, folks, and I'm going to turn it over to my longtime colleague in crime fighting as well, who many of you have met over the years. He's been in the trenches with us, fighting for children, mothers and fathers who are getting screwed over in the courts and who have no sort of recourse when things are going wrong. So let me turn it over to my colleague Steve, who's going to talk to you about our next move here in the agenda.
Sisters and brothers, how you feeling? Great turnout out here. Hey, listen up. This is just the beginning. We got a lot of fun planned for today. What we're going to be doing now is we're going to be going across the street to the park, and we're going to talk about the marching and the direct action that we're going to do. All right. So if we could all stay together. Go over right into that little grassy knoll over there across the park. Let's all gather together, and we're going to give you the details on what we're doing. We're here today to start a movement. We're not just out here to get a good visual or do something like that. We're here to start a movement, and start a movement we will. So look, let's stay together. Let's go across the street, and let's talk about what's next.
Remove all of them.